Hi, everyone. I saw everybody in here early. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate each and every one of you being here. Today, we're continuing the Gary Michael Hilton case. It's the first time I've done a two-parter, so I was kind of nervous about it because there's a certain YouTuber that I watch all the time that does like these very long. Her name's Stephanie Harlow. I'm sure you've heard of her if you're into true crime, but she does these like. It's always like 3, 4, 8 parts sometimes where it's like 2 months of the story developing, and it drives me nuts because I just want to hear the ending. So I had said to myself that I was never going to do a multi-parter, but there was just so much information in this case that I kind of had to. And I think the fact that there was so many victims, I needed to split it up. I normally have between 10 and 12 pages of notes for each, say, hour and a half show. I did 7 pages last episode and I have 10 pages today. So there's no way I could have done 17 pages of notes, and it would have been a 4-hour live stream. So I'm glad you're back to hear the end of the story. Let's say hi to everyone real quick. Number 2, of course, is here. Nice to see you, number 2. She's backstage helping me out today. I appreciate you being here, helping a sister out. Erica, good to see you. Parsons, 1122, just did the first super chat since I got remonetized, and I really appreciate that because I was worried it wasn't going to work. I got the milk bones right here. Both Xena and Ava. There's Ava. Are here today, so they'll get milk bones in just a second. But I figured out, I think, why we didn't have super chats when number 2 and I were on air is because for the Crime Lands and the Friday Night Crimes, I always set it to have a warning, like the 18 and older, because I'm never sure what's going to be shown, and it's not for kids. The Overruled episodes, not that they're child friendly necessarily, but they're not for kids like 16, 17. It's fine. And I think it won't let you have super chats on if it's either A, made specifically for kids, or B, made specifically not for kids. It has to be that middle everybody ground for it to work. Well, that was a tirade. I'm sure more people will show up. If I missed you, I'm sorry, but let's give them some milk bones. And just so you guys know, I'm sure you already do, but if you either do a super chat or you do the buy me a coffee, become a member, anything like that while I'm live, both Xena and Ava, who's also here today, she's back there right now, will get a milk bone live on air. So let's do that since Parsons did purchase milk bones before I even hit the buttons to go live. Thank you so much. All right. Xena, I have to wake her up from her nap. Hey, Xena, this is from Parsons. You want that? Do you want to shake? Oh, that's a good girl. There you go. All right, come here, Ava. Come here. Or hop up there, either way. Hop up. Come on. There she is. Just sit. Hey, look at me. Sit. Plots. No plots. Okay, shake. That's a shake. That's good. Thank you so much. They thank you. Everybody thanks you. All right, so let's start digging into this story. Did I miss one? I don't think I did. So those milk bones were from Parsons, 1122 El Bay. Super chats are working. Pay up, you criminals. Hashtag milk bones for Xena. Milk bones for Xena and Ava. They're both very good girls. Although Ava did not plots when I told her to plots, which means lay down in German. We had a dog named Fritz who was a retired explosives detection dog, so he spoke German commands, and ever since then we just do German commands with our dogs because we had Xena at the same time, so she learned it, and now I guess that's just going to be forever. So let's first start with a little recap of what we did last week. Now, we were mostly talking about Meredith Emerson last week. She was that young lady. She went to a UGA. She graduated with a degree in French. She loved to hike. So she went on a hike one day on Blood Mountain in Georgia and ran into a gentleman named Gary Michael Hilton, which she was nice and friendly with, and she had a nice conversation. They both had dogs with them. She walked up to the top of Blood Mountain, and on her way back, he hid in the bushes and jumped out and kidnapped her. He told her that he just wanted money, so he was going to let her go. We know at the conclusion of last week's episode that he did not let her go. He ended up chaining her to a tree and hitting her in the head with a tire iron. Not cool, Gary. Not cool. He got caught, though, and I guess we'll pick up with this video from where we ended last week, because when he got caught, all of these neighboring states have these open cases, and they're like, this sounds familiar to this cold case that I have from a few months back. I think, well, I guess it wouldn't be a cold case if it's only a few months old, but there's this case that I'm working on, and that modus operandi sounds very familiar. I think we need to call the GBI and find out if if the guy that they have in custody is the guy that we're looking for. And it turns out it was.
With their investigation spilling into 3 states, officials from Georgia, Florida, and North Carolina are now working together to see if any links exist between murders of hikers in the last few months and the man at the center of the investigation, Gary Hilton. He's already been charged with the killing of 24-year-old Meredith Emerson in Georgia, and now police confirm that Hilton is a suspect in the deaths of both an elderly couple in North Carolina and a woman in Florida. A break came in the case when this North Carolina woman's license plate was found attached to Hilton's white van at the time of his arrest.
I started to cry, and I was like, oh my God, to just know that monster was that close.
Andrea Steinhabel says in October her car broke down near a national park in North Carolina, the same park where John and Irene Bryant were killed while hiking. She thinks Hilton must have stolen her tags.
I reached in and took them.
Witnesses in Florida also tell police they remember seeing Hilton near Tallahassee in December when Sunday school teacher Cheryl Dunlap's body was found, like Emerson's, decapitated.
We hope that we will be able to obtain physical evidence that will put him with our victim.
Images from an ATM camera were released of a masked man using Dunlap's debit card in the days following her death. Hilton is suspected of using Emerson's bank card as well. Authorities also believe Hilton may be connected to yet another woman's disappearance in Florida back in 2005. John Belmont, The Associated Press.
So that's where we left off last week. All right. So let's start off with the Bryants. Oops, I showed my notes there for a second. That's supposed to be top secret, guys. Top secret stuff. Okay, so like I said, once Gary Michael Hilton was in custody, all of these detectives from all over the country, mostly the Southeast, started reaching out to the GBI. Now, more than 1,000 people on average go missing from national parks and public lands every year. So this is a lot of people, a lot of which, it's accidents. They fall while they're hiking and, die of exposure, or that we find out something happened to them and it wasn't nefarious. But some are just never found. And then others are found, like the people that we're going to be discussing here today, where they are found and it was quite obvious that it was from it was a homicide. So in North Carolina, John, who's known as Jack, and Irene Bryant went for a hike off of Yellow Gap Road near the Cradle of Forestry in the Pisgah National Forest. And this was October 21st, 2007. So I did a little map from Blood Mountain to where this couple went missing, and you can see it's less than a 4-hour drive. So it's in the same forest. So this is the Blood Mountain, and then this is the Pisgah National Forest where they went missing. It's beautiful up there, by the way. I drive through this area when I'm going up to my friend Steven's house. We drive back roads up there because there's not really an interstate that gets us from our small town to his small town. So most of the time we're on, smaller back roads through these forests. There's lots of waterfalls in this Pisgah National Forest. Just a beautiful area to go hiking. So we'll leave this this beautiful scenery up while I talk about the Bryants. So at the time, Jack and Irene had been married for 58 years, which, by the way, couple goals, am I right? Jack and Irene were a retired couple who lived in Horseshoe, North Carolina. They were both born in the Pacific Northwest before they moved to the Finger Lakes region of New York, and then settled in North Carolina after retirement because they both loved the outdoors so much, and it is such a beautiful area to live in. They both had been avid outdoors people and nature lovers their entire lives. One of their neighbors, after they went missing, was telling the news that Irene had told her, anytime you see a deer or some sort of wildlife out the window, call me and let me know so I can get up and go to the window and take a look. That's how much she loved the wildlife and the outdoors and animals. Irene Bryant, the first in her family to attend college, got her doctorate from Washington State College, and then opened a veterinary practice concentrating on large mammals. So she was a veterinarian, and after she graduated college in Washington, she moved to Montana, and that's where she was set up on a blind date with Jack, who was living there at the time as well. She also, when they moved to New York in the Finger Lakes region of New York, she opened a veterinary practice there for a while, but then gave up practicing veterinary medicine to raise the couple's 3 boys and 1 girl. So they were the parents of 4 children. Jack also loved the outdoors. He had hiked the entire Appalachian Trail in segments over a number of years, which I think is how most people do it. I know there are people who do hike it from beginning to end, but most people will do, this start in Georgia and do the Georgia section and then go on to the next section and then just do it over a number of years, which is how Jack hiked the Appalachian Trail. He started in Maine. The Xenocam went out. He started in Maine and then ended up in Georgia on Springer Mountain. We'll see if we can't get the Xenocam back up working in a little bit. So now keep in mind, do you remember last week when I told you that Meredith's remains were finally found near the Amicalola Falls? That is where the beginning of the Appalachian Trail starts. So it's kind of a coincidence that when I was researching Jack and Irene, Jack had been to that same area, that same Dawson's Creek Forest area, or Dawson's Forest area where Meredith's body was found to hike the Appalachian Trail. It's the exact same area. Jack was initially an engineer, but later earned a law degree at Cornell, fancy, and he did practice law in a town. He was an attorney in a town called Skinny Atlas, New York. The couple also traveled overseas frequently. They kept bags packed with everything in there that they would need, like down to an extra like toothbrush and stuff like that. And Jack would search the internet in the evenings for last-minute airline deals and cheap vacations so they could just up and go at a moment's notice if they found like some cheap flight to Europe or something like that. So they love to travel. They love to go hiking. They said that they would go hiking at least once a week, like a day hike, not like overnight trips. So back to October 21st, 2007. All right. So Jack and Irene set off for one of their weekly hikes in the Pisgah National Forest, and they never returned home. Their family reported them missing after not hearing from them for 2 weeks in a row. None of their children lived in North Carolina where they lived. Their daughter, I believe, lived in Florida, and the sons were still in New York, but none of them were in the same area that they were. A week after they were reported missing, Irene's body was discovered covered in leaves and twigs just 50 paces from where they found the couple's Ford Escape on Yellow Gap Road near Route 276. An autopsy revealed that she died from blunt force trauma to the head. If you remember, that's exact same way that Meredith died. Once it was revealed to be a homicide and that the couple was just not like missing, didn't like go off the trail somewhere and get lost or something like that, the FBI is called in because it was a national park, not a state park. So it's federal land. So the FBI gets called in. The first thing the FBI does is they launch an investigation with a reward of $10,000 to whoever could provide information leading to the killer. They then dig in. I mean, it's basically the same sort of thing they did in Meredith's case, where they start looking at their cell phones and bank cards and stuff like that. That's like the first thing they do. And they find out that, yes, their ATM was tried to be used. Right? I think it was used in this case. So their ATM card was used, and $700 in 2 separate transactions was taken out of their bank account. And that was in Ducktown, Tennessee, which if you look back at the map, all of this, like Tennessee, North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, they all kind of converge right in this area. So this is Tennessee, and then this is North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. So they all come together right there. Let's see how far away Ducktown, Tennessee is. I've been to Ducktown, Tennessee. There's a whitewater rafting near there. So this is Ducktown, Tennessee. The Ocoee River is there, and the Ocoee River, if you're ever in the area and want to go whitewater rafting, it's a very nice area to do that at. So it's an hour away. So there's the Pisgah National Forest, and it's just north of there. So the surveillance cameras in Ducktown show an older Caucasian man wearing a yellow rain jacket whose hood was obscuring his face using the ATM card. On February 3rd, 2008. So this is months later. They went missing in October. So this is February of the next year. A hunter accidentally discovered a skull in the Nantahala National Forest, just off the Forest Service road known as the Switchbacks. He called the authorities in, and almost immediately they found a spine and also a pelvis and a spine about 20 yards away from the skull that the hunter originally found. The bones were sent to the medical examiner in Chapel Hill to identify the decedent, and after 2 days, it was positively identified as John Jack Bryant's. I hit like on all of the documents, it says John, but he went by Jack. So you can see how the similarities kind of lined up to what they were seeing on the news. The Bryants go missing in October. Meredith goes missing on January 1st of the following year, so a few months later. And then Gary's arrested within that same week that Meredith went missing. So it's all kind of lining up. Now we're gonna move down to Florida. We're going down to Leon Sink's geological area in Florida, and it is about a 9-hour drive from the Pisgah National Forest. And Blood Mountain is like right along the way. Blood Mountain is like up here along the way. So Cheryl Hodges Dunlap. On Saturday, December 1st, so we're in the same timeline. Saturday, December 1st, she goes to the Leon Sink State Park. Cheryl was a nurse at the Florida State Thugard Health Center. She was also an active member of the River of Life Church in Crawfordsville, Florida. She taught Sunday school there, and she went on several mission trips with this church. And she had her whole friend group within, like, her nursing friends and then her church friends. That was pretty much, she was a very wholesome person. She was a beautiful woman too. She spent her life giving back to others. So she was beautiful inside and out. She used to like to go to the Leon Sink's area and read. She would find like a park bench and just read for hours and hours and hours. She failed to show up for dinner plans that she had made that night. It was a Saturday, so she didn't show up for dinner plans that she had made that morning. So before she went to go read at the park, she was on the phone with friends and said, "Oh yeah, I'll meet up with you for dinner later," and just never showed up. But she had told the friend that she was going to go to Leon Sink's and read for the afternoon and then go to dinner later. So they kind of knew where she was at. But this friend, for some reason, didn't call the authorities or call anybody. She also failed to show up for her Sunday school class and for church the next day. And the church people didn't call anybody either. It wasn't until Monday, so she goes missing on Saturday. It wasn't until Monday that they ended up, when she didn't show up for work on Monday, the nurses, her friends at the hospital or the health center, went to her house after work to kind of check on her. And what they found at her house was that her dog was there with no food and an empty water bowl. Her car wasn't there. So at that time, that's when she was reported missing to the police. Everyone who knew Cheryl let the police know after they reported her missing, like, this is totally out of character for her. If she says she's going to be somewhere, she's going to be there, or she's going to let us know that she's not going to be there. Like, she's not the type of person just to like blow off responsibility, anything like that. In the meantime, so over the weekend, her car was found off of this road near this Leon Sink's geological area, which also, by the way, we should put this up too. It was beautiful. I could see why you would want to go there and read. Do you guys see this place? Look at that water. It just looks like a very nice place to sit in nature and enjoy nature. Beautiful trails. Beautiful water, wildlife, that sort of stuff. And they had these walkways built, and there's benches along the walkways where you could just sit in nature and read. So her car gets found by the Florida Highway Patrol, and it is she's not reported missing at the time, because remember, church people didn't, the person she was meeting for dinner Saturday didn't let anybody know. Church people didn't let anybody know. And so the Florida Highway Patrol find the car. However, when they run the license plate, nothing comes back like, oh, this belongs to a missing person, something like that. But it had a flat tire. It was on the side of the road, and it had a flat tire. So after she was reported missing, then alarm bells were raised, because they're like, oh, wait, guys, we got this car and we think it belongs to this lady that's missing. So they go back to the car and they find that the car is unlocked, and her purse and the keys to the car are inside the car. And her friends told the police, like, right away, Cheryl would never leave her car unlocked. She would never leave her keys and her purse in there. No way. That's not happening. Something's up. Something's wrong. We need to find Cheryl. They also noted that the flat tire was caused by something intentionally being stabbed into the sidewall, not like it just had a slow leak and went flat while she was reading for hours or something like that. So it was intentionally flat. So they do the same thing. It's not national, or it's not a FBI case yet, because this is a state park, not a national park. So the police do the same thing, though, where they're searching her phone, seeing who she talked to. Her phone had been turned off or just, disabled somehow on the same day on Saturday, and her ATM cards were caught, or were used, and it was caught on camera. Image of a man deliberately disguising his face using the ATM. Cheryl must have given him the PIN numbers, unlike Meredith did, because he ended up getting, I think I said $700 for the Bryants. It was $300 for the Bryants and $700 from Cheryl's bank cards, which is such an insanely low, it's upsetting me right now, because it's such a low amount of money to take somebody's life over. It's crazy, right? All right. I need to take a little break to catch my breath anyway, so we are going to give Zena a milk bone. Let's see if I can get her camera back working. It stopped for a minute. Sometimes it comes back on. Nope, it's not gonna work. Let me remove it and try to redo it. Oh, yes, it is gonna work. How about that? Hey, Zena, wake up. And Ava's here too. I didn't even notice her in the background until she just moved. It's milk bone time, guys. Mama needs a break about telling this terrible story. So thank you very much, Team Bandit 2804, for the donation. I appreciate it. Canadian, I guess. CAD is Canadian dollars. Is that correct? I appreciate that. All right. I got something for you. Do a touch. There you go. Do a shake. That's one for Zena. Ava, hop up here. You gotta hop up here. I know. All right, you sit. Did you see Ava just trying to shake my hand so bad so she can get a milk bone? There she is. Do a shake. You gotta do a shake. Shake. Do a high five. Do a high five. There it is. That's from Bandit. She loves you guys. Thank you very much, Team Bandit. I appreciate that. And Ava and Zena appreciate it too. Get them both in frame. All right, plots. Plots. Thank you again. All right, let's get back into the story. All right, here's where it's about to get real, guys. Trigger warning, I guess. We're going to talk about some stuff. December 15th, 2007. Hunters in the... I'm going to pronounce this. Hold on. Apalachicola. I think it's pronounced Apalachicola. Hunters in the Apalachicola. There it is. Wildlife management area saw some buzzards circling and went to check out what the buzzards were interested in. And what they found was they found a body with no head or no hands, covered in palm fronds. An autopsy positively identified the body as Cheryl Dunlap's. When the news of Meredith's killer being identified hit the national news, people who were in the Leon Sinks geological area that month earlier started calling in the tip line saying that this Gary Hilton guy, I saw him. I saw this guy. He was at the sinks that day. He was there at Leon Sinks. I saw him because I recognize his dog. I recognize him and I recognize his dog, Dandy. I saw them in that Leon Sinks geological area that day. The police started searching. So now they know Gary was there. And so they start searching the different campsites where people were calling in and saying, hey, I saw him in the area. He was at this campsite. We were hiking over here and we saw him over there. So they're checking all these campsites where they know that Gary had been. And in one of the fire pits, they found skull and hand bone fragments that were so badly burned they could not determine a cause of death. But because the body was discovered with no head and no hands, they know it's from homicide. So they know that it was not of natural causes, but they don't know exactly how she died. I'm going to guess blunt force trauma to the head because that's how everybody else in this case, except for Jack Bryant was actually killed from a gunshot wound to the head, but the women were all killed from blunt force trauma to the head. So, meanwhile in Georgia, Gary Michael Hilton's van is being processed for blood evidence, or processed in general, and they find blood evidence in there that matches Cheryl's blood. So the DNA matches. There's a pair of boots, and this is the exact same pair of boots that he was mid-throwing into dumpster. Remember that guy who called 911 and was going to take him down himself? When that guy called, he was mid-throwing boots and stuff into a dumpster. These are the boots that had Cheryl Dunlap's blood on them. I'm going to play that call again because I love this guy.
Okay, 911, what's the exact location?
I have the person of interest in that missing woman case is at this Chevron gas station on Ashford Dunwoody.
Chevron gas station at Ashford Dunwoody?
Yeah.
You said the van is there?
The van is here. The dog is here, the red dog, and I saw the man's face, and I've been watching the news, and I know it's him. He's got a green long sleeve sweatshirt, and he's wearing a hat, and he's emptying all this stuff out of his van. Pillows and a blanket, and it looks like he's got a sleeping bag right now. Taking it all to the trash. It's definitely looking around like he is as guilty as sin.
Okay, sir, and the dumpster is at the rear of the location?
Yeah, the dumpster, well, it's kind of right in the front. It's right by the car wash.
Okay.
I can go take him down if you want.
No, sir, stay right there.
Okay.
That's my favorite part. I can go take him down if you want.
Okay, hold on, sir.
He looks like he's finishing up. You guys gotta hurry. He's got stuff in bags that he's emptied onto the ground, and he's taking load by load to the strip behind the car wash. This is the third backpack we've seen him take to the dumpster. Oh, I'm just shaking. You guys, is there somebody en route?
Yes, sir.
Here we go. Here comes the cops. Yes. Yes.
Police are there?
Yes. Yes. They got him.
They got him?
I mean, they don't have him yet, but they're getting out. So they got him now. Here, 2 cruisers pulled up on him. 2 of the cab's finest.
Got
How
him.
about that?
How about that? How about that? So while this was happening, while this phone call was going on, he's trying to actively get rid of the evidence of Cheryl Dunlap being in his van. They also found his semen on her leg, because he didn't burn her body, just her hands and her head. So they found his semen on her leg, and they found also in his van her blood in other places. The bayonet that was used to kidnap Meredith was matched, like the marks that I guess, like the stab marks, matched the bayonet that was used to kidnap Meredith that caused the hole in Cheryl's tire. Once Hilton was presented with the physical evidence and the circumstantial evidence of everybody seeing him in the area, he confessed to killing Cheryl Dunlap.
Already serving a life sentence in Georgia for killing hiker Meredith Emerson, 61-year-old Gary Hilton will soon be on his way to Florida, where he'll face the death penalty in the killing and decapitation of this woman. She was Cheryl Dunlap, a 46-year-old nurse and former Sunday school teacher. Her body was found December 19th outside of Tallahassee. Friday, a Georgia judge cleared the way for Hilton to be extradited to Florida to stand trial. But though he confessed to murdering the 24-year-old Emerson, Hilton says he didn't kill Dunlap and says his rights are now being violated. Authorities say Hilton is also the suspect in the deaths of a North Carolina couple, John and Irene Bryant. Police released this video of an encounter the drifter.
Oh, okay, guys. So remember I played this video, the whole thing last week? I need to tell you guys something. So I think most of you were here last week, right? So the people that were here last week, I played this video and I said, man, where this video was taken is so close to my house. It's crazy. And I had to take Leia, the boxer that was here for a couple weeks. I had to take her home after the show last week. And I literally had to drive through this forest to get there. The forest where this video was taken, where he's telling the cop, oh, I'm leaving, being really nice to the police officer and all that. So I just finished telling you guys the first part of the story, and I'm driving through this forest as the sun is going down, mind you. It was really creepy. It was so creepy. And it's Georgia Route 20 that I have to take to get there. It's not like a major highway or anything. It's like one lane each direction through this forest to get there. Really creepy.
Had last year with a Georgia police officer before being linked to the murders.
I'm leaving. I'm getting out of here. God almighty.
Hilton, who is representing himself, has 30 days to appeal the judge's decision. Bob Eller, The Associated Press.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate that. All right. So now at the same time they're processing, they are getting evidence of the Bryants. So the very first blood sample tested, taken from Hilton's van, matched Jack Bryant. The build and the mannerisms of the person using the Bryant's ATM card match the video of the person using the Bryant's ATM card. The ATM card in the Bryant's case was also, they gave him the PIN for the ATM. What happened in that case is he almost immediately killed Mrs. Bryant, and then he kidnapped Jack Bryant, the old man, because he thought in this 4-hour interrogation that I watched, he says he only kidnapped people that he thought he could control. So he kidnapped Mr. Bryant and then got him to give up the PIN for the ATM. I don't know why Zena's camera keeps going out. Okay. She's back. So the build and the mannerisms, obviously he was also obscuring his face when he used that ATM in the videos or whatever. He was seen in the area at the time the Bryants went missing. So we have evidence again. So here is what Gary Michael Hilton does. He denies until you say, here's the evidence we have, and then he admits to it, which is what happened in this case as well. So they're like, look, we have Jack Bryant's DNA in your van. How did it get there? We also have all of these people saying that they saw you and your very distinctive dog. I think most people probably remember the dog more than him, because that's what I would remember, but maybe because I'm a dog person, I don't know. Whenever I see, when we're out hiking and somebody has a dog, I want to pet their dog. I don't really want to talk to people. That's what I'm doing in the middle of the woods by myself, but I do want to talk to their dog. I think most people remembered Dandy, not him, but because he's got this very distinctive red golden retriever, people remembered him. And they're like, yes, he was there. He was definitely there. Let's close some of these so we go a little faster.
A confessed serial killer who pleaded guilty to killing 2 hikers from Henderson County is scheduled to be sentenced today. Last year, Gary Hilton admitted to killing John and Irene Bryant as they hiked in the Pisgah National Forest in October 2007. News 13's Mario Boone is live outside the Buncombe County Jail where Hilton is being held right now. Mario, what's next?
Well, here is Gary Hilton's latest mugshot, and he has several of these by now. Now, what happens from here is Hilton will move from the Buncombe County Jail right behind me, just a few blocks away, over to the federal courthouse to be sentenced there in the brutal killings of John and Irene Bryant nearly 6 years ago. The crime happened while the Bryants were hiking in Pisgah National Forest in Transylvania County. Now, an autopsy found Mrs. Bryant died from several blows to the head. Mr. Bryant died of a bullet to the head. Now, Hilton already has the death penalty for a 2011 Florida killing and life in prison for a 2008 Georgia killing. And Hilton's sentencing is scheduled for 2 p.m. today. Of course, we'll be there and have the very latest on what happens to Hilton in this latest court hearing. Reporting live from outside the jail, I'm Mario Boone, News 13.
All right. So good news. He's locked away forever. And then here's the sentencing for the other
Convicted
case.
serial killer Gary Hilton was sentenced in Asheville federal court today for the murders of John and Irene Bryant of Henderson County. Now, Hilton received 4 life sentences and apologized to his victim's family. News 13's Megan Shearing's live for us in Asheville. Megan, the Bryant's children say they don't believe that Hilton is sorry.
That's right, Larry. They tell me that Hilton was laughing and joking around before and after he found out what his punishment would be. No cameras were allowed in federal court Thursday, but this is a look of Gary Hilton being taken back to jail after learning he would spend the rest of his life behind bars.
I wanted to say that he beat my mother to death. He shot my father in the head. He murdered 2 people for no reason other than the trophies of their clothes and the $300 he got from their bank card.
That is Holly Bryant. Last year, Hilton pleaded guilty to killing her parents, John and Irene Bryant, in October of 2007. The couple was hiking in the Pisgah National Forest in Transylvania County. Court records show Hilton admitted to killing Mrs. Bryant there and kidnapping John. Mr. Bryant's remains were found in the Nantahala National Forest in Macon County.
They were wonderful, hardworking people. They were parents of 4 very successful children, and I'm very sorry this happened.
The Bryant's son, Terry, says he's relieved Hilton will not be able to hurt anyone else. He holds on to hope, though, that Hilton will one day be executed.
I can't say anything about it, can't comment on it.
After his sentencing, Hilton's attorneys did not have anything to say on his behalf. But from here, Hilton will go back to Florida, where he's received a death sentence for the murder of a nurse in Florida. He's also serving a life sentence for killing a hiker in North Georgia. Now, I talked with Transylvania County Sheriff David Mahoney tonight. He and his department worked a number of hours on this case. He tells me that he is glad this case has finally come to an end. He also says that it is his prayer that this will allow the Bryant family and the community to find closure. Reporting live in downtown Asheville tonight, Megan Shearing, News 13.
So, good news all around. They got him, guys. He's got death sentences in 2 different states and a life sentence in Meredith's case. And keep in mind, the only reason he's got that life sentence here is because they made a deal with him to show them where they could find Meredith to have closure for the family in return for a life sentence instead of a death sentence. Which it was very nice of him to tell them, where it was. All right, we are going to take a commercial break, and then we're going to get on to these other. Let's turn that off. We've got more to talk about. First of all, I want to thank Smith W. Let's pop out this chat so I can show it. Over there on Rumble, made a donation. It says, Knick-Knack Paddywhack gives that dog a bone, which we are going to do right now. I appreciate that. Hey, Zena, you're getting fat today. Could one of my mods please put the Buy Me a Coffee link in the chat so that if somebody wants to click on it, they can? Why is my alarm going off? I must have had something to do at 5:30 yesterday and set my alarm for 9 minutes ahead of time. All right, Zena. It's time. You ready? You know what to do? That's a shake. Can I get this hand? Can I get this one? No, this one. No, this one. There you go. I actually gave her 2 because one of them was like broken, and I thought that would be a ripoff for her to get a piece of one. So I gave her the broken one and the whole one. She's a lucky dog. We've lost Ava since then. She was acting up and she had to leave because she's a terrorist, and that's what she does. All right. Well, let me do this then. We're going to get to the commercial in just a second. All right, there it is. Here's the actual link. I didn't see if somebody else did it already. I'm sorry, but here it is. I should probably have that stuff ready. There's the link to the Buy Me a Coffee. Buy Me Coffee, Buy Me a Milk Bone. All right. This program today is brought to you by me. It's brought to you by me because I got to do stuff myself. Nobody's going to support me otherwise. So if you want to buy any merchandise, you could do that at kdz.com. You can still use discount code Xena10. Even though I said it was only September and today is October 1st, you can still use discount code Xena10 to get 10% off of anything that is in the merch store. I would appreciate it if you like any of this stuff. I say go get it. Why not? It's good stuff. You can get this True Crime with Xena t-shirt. It says True Crime with Xena featuring Katie Z, because we all know why you're really here, and it's not to see me, it's to see her. If you'd like a hat, we have those now. If you would like a wine glass, if you are like my family, I don't really drink that much wine, but if you're like my family, you like to sit down, listen to some good true crime, and drink some wine. So you can get a wine glass. Xena has her whole line of merchandise over there. A doggy bowl. By the way, I have these almost at cost because they were so stinking and expensive to... I don't get one of those. That's too expensive. You don't want that. But what is a reasonable price is this pet bandana dog. It's got like a loop in there and it goes right on the dog collar, and it says True Crime with Xena right on there. We have t-shirts, we have coffee mugs, Overruled and Crimeland. You can even get a little makeup pouch. Actually, I have one back here. I'm gonna grab it. So you can get an idea of how big it is. So on one side, it says Overruled. On the other side, it says Crimeland. And it is like pretty much the perfect size to fit all of... Oh, there's a tag in there I never took out. I don't think I've ever even opened this before. I just put it on the shelf. But as you can see, it's like the perfect size to keep your makeup in, or whatever else you might keep in a zippy. You know, there's plenty of things you can keep in zippies. That's what I call these kind of pouches. So... it could double as an ammo pouch. Very good point, life to the max. So there we go. We have t-shirts. We have long sleeve t-shirts. We have sweatshirts. I just ordered myself a zippy sweatshirt. I made zippy sweatshirts because I don't like hooded pullover sweatshirts, but for the winter time, I do enjoy a hood. So I did order myself a hooded zippy sweatshirt. Hopefully it'll be here in a week and a half. Things, they print it as you order it, so it takes about a week and a half, 2 weeks to get. I made a Christmas ornament. It's in the shape of a star. It says, Overruled, True Crime with Katie Z on it. This ends this commercial. Link, as always, in the description. Use discount code Xena10 for 10% off anything you want. All right, how do I get this off the screen? That's the commercial, guys. As always, if you donate to any of the places, Xena gets a milk bone. You saw that happen a few times today. You could do the buymeacoffee.com. You can do the Rumble. Rumble takes 10% less than YouTube does. So if nothing else, if I ever leave YouTube, Rumble is where I will be because it's just a better deal. I just don't have that much of an audience over there. Subscribe star. Or you can become a member on YouTube now as well. Number 2 loves zippies. I know that for a fact. She's got like a whole thing. Whenever I need to buy a gift for number 2 and I don't know what to get, I get her a zippy. That's her thing. She likes to be organized. She likes to keep things in zippies. She's got zippies all over the place. If you look in her purse, it's just like 18 different zippies with different things in there. She's got snacks usually. She's great. All right. End of advertisement. I said that like 2 minutes ago. Let's get back to the story. Thank you guys, anybody who donated. I appreciate that. Oh, wait, we got another coffee. Or we got a coffee. Smith W says he has a cat whose name, he's got a cat that's a terrorist. In the pre-dawn hours, she's knocking at the medicine bottles off the table as if to say, wake up, eat your pills, and come play. Sounds about right. Yeah, Ava's just a terrorist in general. Just in general. All right, Xena. Smith W says that he puts his weed in his zippies. Or no, you put your weed and I don't smoke weed. You guys know I'm an innocent angel, right? I've said it before. All right, welcome, Aunt B. We're just finishing up. I talked about how we linked the Gary Michael Hilton to a woman in Florida named Cheryl Dunlap. She was murdered, and also a couple out of North Carolina who was abducted and murdered. So we've got more crimes. We've got more stuff this guy did. There's others that are missing. As you guys know, I do not like to cover cases that are not solved and have a conclusion with a nice bow on top. I think there's been only one that I covered that was like an unsolved case. I don't like knowing or thinking that there's just somebody out there. So, and I don't like saying allegedly every 2 minutes. For this next part, I'm going to have to say allegedly a lot because we thinks that Gary Michael Hilton did these things, but he's not been convicted of doing these things. So, allegedly, from here till I say the allegedlys is over, just keep in mind all of this is allegedly. In addition to the homicides that I already said, Hilton has been investigated and remains a suspect in the following unsolved murders. Let me put the chat back over here so I can see what you guys are saying. On September 7th, 1997, remember that movie came out in 1995 that we talked about last time that Gary Michael Hilton was a writer on. So I was saying at the time that there's no way he wrote this movie and he wasn't actually doing this stuff. So I think maybe I was right, because on September 7th, 1997, several human bones, and personal items were found in the Pisgah National Forest, same place that Jack and Irene were found, scattered near a campground. The decedent was eventually identified as 51-year-old hiker Judy Smith, who was last seen in Philadelphia 5 months earlier on April 10th, 1997. She was hiking the Appalachian Trail. It has been speculated that she might have been a victim of Hilton, who had left one of his victims in similar condition near where Smith's body was discovered. Now, what I did on this map that you guys are not seeing yet because I didn't put it on the screen is all of the cases that I talked about, I just put in here so you can see how close together all of these, like this was literally his hunting ground here. So all of the places that I'm talking about are all on this map. There's one there. There's one. This is Blood Mountain. Cumming, Georgia. It looks like it's the furthest south in Georgia. But this is like the Nantahala forest in here. It's where the Smoky Mountain National Park is. It's a very beautiful area. I highly suggest if you guys are looking for somewhere to go on vacation and you like that sort of thing, try to book a cabin in this area, especially in the fall or spring. It's really pretty. Would recommend. I'm thinking I need to move there personally. 20-year-old Jackson Andrew Knapp, a Clemson University student, was last seen by his roommate at the residence in the University Terrace Apartments in South Carolina. On April 11th, 1998, his roommate said that Knapp was watching a movie at approximately 10:30 that evening. Authorities found Knapp's white 1990 Chevy Beretta abandoned 9 days later. On April 21st, 1998, the vehicle was found parked at Table Rock State Park in Pickens County, South Carolina. That's this one here. He was declared legally dead in 2018. Due to the similarities to his other known crimes, Hilton was proposed as a suspect, but he denies any connection to Knapp. I'm not sure if I buy it. Next, This is like so sad. Hairdresser, like all of these people, they're never going to know because he's never going to admit to it because they didn't find any physical evidence. He's only admitted to the crimes that they actually found physical evidence of. Reminds me of other people who, unless you like have, which I totally get it. Like, I don't know why he's even talking to the police anyway. I just, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to do or say, but they have the evidence, so he'll admit to it. But all of these other ones are the exact same MO, and he won't admit to it. So these families are never going to have closure. Hairdresser Patrice Marie Tamber Andreas, 38, disappeared from her hair salon, Tamber's Trim and Tan, in Cumming, Georgia. That is here. On April 15th, 2004, between 11:37 and 11:50 a.m., her remains were found on December 6th, 2005 in Dawson County, Georgia. That's where Blood Mountain is. Hilton was known to have been in Forsyth County, that's where Cumming is, because he had been stopped for a traffic violation there. In his statements to investigators, Hilton told them that he would usually go to hair salons and ask for money around lunchtime. Investigators were unable to find an alibi for him the day of Patrice's disappearance. Is there something wrong with my sound? The little thingies are moving. It says you can hear me. That's weird. All right. Turn the volume up, Mom. Oh, my mom's here. By the way, guys, your mama is my mama, so behave yourselves. She's here now. Okay, so this next one that I'm talking about, I really, like the other ones are all allegedly, they just kind of match. But this next one, there is a witness that says for sure, she's positive she saw Gary Michael Hilton with this woman the day before she went missing. So I think for sure this guy did this one for sure. Like allegedly, for sure, definitely he did it. Allegedly. 26-year-old Rosanna Milani, a hiker from Miami, Florida, was last seen at approximately 12 p.m. at the Ramada Inn Hotel in Cherokee, North Carolina. Miliani called her father from the hotel that day and told him she was going to go hiking on the Appalachian Trail. A store clerk who read about Miliani's disappearance claimed she sold a backpack to Miliani and an unidentified older white man in his 60s in Bryson City, North Carolina, the day she went missing. Following Hilton's arrest, so when she went missing, the store clerk says, "Hey, I saw this girl with this older guy in my store. They bought a backpack." Then Hilton gets arrested. And keep in mind, remember I was telling you guys, this was like all over the news in this area. It was everywhere. You couldn't not hear about this story. So she sees the pictures of Gary Michael Hilton on TV in 2007 or 2008 when he's arrested and says, that's the guy I saw her with. And she calls the police immediately and says, that's him. That's the guy. So following her arrest, the store clerk contacted the authorities and said that, I'm positive that's him. When I wish I had it pulled up, but when she went missing in 2005, they had like a sketch artist do a sketch of the guy that was with Rosanna Miliani, and if you hold it up to a picture of Gary Hilton, the sketch looks the same. He's the guy that was with her in the store. I am almost positive that this one is another one for sure. Some of these other ones are like the kid from the college. I don't know. His body was never found, so we don't know. And Gary Hilton's MO is to overpower people that he was he was bigger or stronger than. So I'm thinking a male college student doesn't fit the MO as well as these other ones. It's not an older person. It's not a woman, you know. All right, here's one more. Michael Scott Lewis, 27, a South Daytona resident, went missing on November 21st, 2007. A few weeks later, on December 6th, his dismembered remains were found by a fisherman in Ormond Beach. Oh, I got to switch maps. So this is in Florida, this last one. And Ormond Beach is over here. It's a 4.5-hour drive from where Cheryl Dunlap went missing. This is another one where I'm not sure. They have him on the suspect list, but I don't think this is another. I don't think he did this one personally. His dismembered remains were found by a fisherman in Ormond Beach, packed in black bags, which had been dumped in the Tomoka River. The remains were not immediately connected to Lewis, with identification occurring several days later by a lab in California. His head was never located. See, that's part of the thing. Like, he liked to take people's heads off, you know. What can you do? His head was never located. Authorities have stated that, Hilton remains a suspect in the murder, and he was in the area at the time. He is not the sole suspect. So, real quick, what do you guys think? Do you think he's connected to all or some of these cases that I just went over? Do you think he did them? I really think that the first one and then that Rosanna girl, I think those two for sure. The other ones, the hairdresser, I don't know. Like, the hairdresser's way down here and not in a forest. She went missing from her salon. I think the first one, Judy, I think her name was, Judy Smith. And I think that Rosanna Miliani, I think those two for sure. Allegedly. For sure, allegedly. He did those two for sure, allegedly. Okay, so we went through the court cases, and he's sentenced to death. And then, of course, you get automatic appeals when you're sentenced to death. And his death sentence was upheld. All of his appeals have been exhausted. Good news. And the Florida Supreme Court upheld his death sentence in a 34-page ruling issued Thursday morning. This was in 2021, this happened. Justices denied Hilton's latest request to overturn his conviction and death sentence. Dunlap's cousin, so that's Cheryl's cousin, Gloria Tucker, shared this statement with WCTV after reading that ruling. She said, "Life is a precious gift from our Creator. We are all a part of one large family, the human race. I think too many people have lost sight of the value of each life. It is a sad situation when someone can callously take the life of another human being. I appreciate the ruling of the Supreme Court of Florida affirming the value of Sherry's life." All of these people that I talked about, they had families, they were loved. The Hiltons had 4 children, had 3 boys and a girl. I'm happy to report that Hilton remains in custody at the Union Correctional Institution in Rainford, Florida. Which doesn't look like a nice place, by the way. And I know it was just in that last article, but look at his most recent mugshot. So this is his most recent mugshot. He has gained some weight. He looks very scary. Imagine hiking through the forest, either where the Dunlaps went, where Cheryl went missing in Florida, or where the Bryants went missing at the Pisgah National Forest, and coming across with this guy. How terrifying would that be? Very terrifying. Remember, you can always donate while we're off air. That's today's show, by the way. Tell me what you think in the comments below, or in the chat right now, what you think of Gary Michael Hilton. I'm so glad he's away forever. And it does say here, this is the Florida Department of Corrections thingy, that he is in a maximum security prison and his current release date is death sentence. It sounds like they haven't set a date yet. I don't know what's taking so long. All of his appeals were exhausted since 2021. So let's get this done now. Let's go. Let's do it. I don't know. Anyway, back to my closing. If you want to donate while we're off air, the pups will get treats as soon as we get back on air. Let me just check Rumble to make sure nobody donated over there while I was not paying attention. Why is the Rumble chat not there? Oh, because I popped it out earlier. There it is. And the Buy Me a Coffee. Nope, we're good there. And YouTube, we're good there. Okay. So if you donate while we're off air, you could do that at thebuymeacoffee.com/KDZ. You can donate. You could become a member, I think, while I'm off air too. So if anybody does any of those things, we will start the next show with Milk Bones for Zena. Hey, Zena, would you like that? Zena's asleep. Zena. She's the only way to get her attention is to do this. Okay, is she dead? Zena, are you dead? No, she's wagging her tail. She was out cold there for a minute. So coming up on the show next week. Normally this week would have been a Crime Land episode, but the Gary Michael Hilton case was so long, I split it into two. So we did a Friday Night Crime last Friday. Go back and watch that if you haven't. It was very good. We talked about the Tupac arrest. We talked about the Philly riots, all of that stuff. You can always find the Crime Lands and the Friday Night Crimes over on Rumble or Odyssey. We also have a separate Friday Night Crime channel set up that all of the Friday Night Crimes will go to. They cannot stay on my YouTube channel. I'm sorry. That just can't happen. I should have, let me put the Friday Night Crime link over here. I'm getting there, guys. Give me a minute. You know I never press all the right buttons at the right time. Why is it not pulling up? Here we go. Okay, so subscribe to my second channel, or Karen number 2 in my second channel, which is called Friday Night Crime, because we will be putting all of the Friday Night Crime, and I think I'm going to put the Crime Lands over there as well, on that channel. So if you're not catching it live, you can go there to see it. And it's just youtube.com/@Friday Night Crime. Coming up next week, October 8th, we're going to cover the Adam Walsh case, and my friend Frank is going to join me. Frank from the Let's Be Frank YouTube channel. He's a great guy. I've known him for years. We used to do the pubcast together from time to time. I would fill in on the Last American Pubcast, which was one of his projects. And he's finally going to come on my channel, which I'm very excited about. Then the following weekend. There's going to be no show on Sunday, but good news for you, we're going to have a show Friday night, and we're going to have a show Saturday mid-morning. So that'll be fun. I'm going to be in Indiana. We're going to be covering the Delphi case. So you're going to have a Friday night crime with number 2 and KDZ in the same room at the same time, which is the first time that's ever happened. So I'm looking forward to that. And we're going to figure out what's going on in Delphi, Indiana. After that, we're going to do a Crimeland episode on October 22nd, and on October 29th, Zahara Baker with Miss Mandy, the one and only. I saw Miss Mandy in the chat a little bit ago. Thanks for stopping by, Miss Mandy. She's going to be on the show on October 29th. I appreciate all of you coming. I'm very excited about my new intro or outro song that's about to play. This is only the second time I'm able to use it. This is called Brain Fog. Was written for my outro by my friend Steven Ignoramus, who's been on the show before. If you saw the episode about Leo Frank or you saw the episode about Sky King, that's my friend Steven. And have a good day. Have a good night. Enjoy your family. Hug your loved ones, because you never know what's going to happen. And enjoy time with your family today. Bye, guys. See you next week.